start. Okay. First, we need to describe what is weathering. What is weathering? Andrea Godoy, can you read, please, the definition of weathering?
Weathering, the physical and chemical breakdown of rocks at or near the surface.
Thank you. Guys, this is everything about rocks. This quarter, in the last quarter, I know, we are going to study and continue studying the rocks, the interaction of the different agents that we have about the rocks. For example, one specific agent that you have there could be the water. And with the water, you have the relation between the hydrosphere and the geosphere. Remember that the geosphere is about the rocks. Okay, we have two types of weathering. And in this case, we have the first one there. Roberto, can you read, please, the first one?
Physical weathering, the mechanical or physical breakdown of rock into smaller pieces of sediment without a change in the mineral's chemical composition.
Thank you. And before to continue, because we have here more about the frost action, the plants and animal interaction over the rocks, and this one, we need to take the book. So open your book in the page 213. 213. Because in the 212, we have the vocabulary and we have the topic lesson 1, weathering and soil. But for that, we need to take just the vocabulary that appeared there. So, Grace, can you read the first paragraph that say breaking down Earth's surface, please?
Breaking down Earth's surface. Even the hardest rock wear down over the time on Earth's surface. Natural processes such as the one that produced the wave in figure 1 break down rocks and carry the pieces away. Geologists make inferences about what processes shape Earth's surface in the past based on the principle of uniformitarianism. The principle states that the geologic process that operate today is also operated in the past. Scientists infer that ancient landforms and features formed through the same processes they observe today and will continue to do so in the future.
Thank you, Danilo. Can you continue with the second paragraph, please?
The natural agents of mechanical weathering include freezing and thawing, release of pressure, plant growth, actions of animals, and abrasion, as shown in figure 2. Abrasion refers to the weather.
Wait a minute. The second paragraph is that the process of weathering and erosion. Page 213.
Sorry. The process of weathering and erosion works together to change Earth's surface by wearing down and carrying away rocks particles. The process of weathering breaks down rocks and other substances. Heat, cold, water, and ice and gases all contribute to weathering. Erosion involves the removal of rock particles by wind, water, ice, or gravity.
Thank you, Danilo. Okay, which was the objective? Identify the agents of weathering, right? That was the objective? Okay, in this moment, I need that you take your highlighter or marker or pencil or something like that to enclose or remark the next part. Listen, the important part here is the second paragraph because the process of weathering and erosion work together to change Earth's surface by wearing down and carrying away rock particles. That part is very important, but if you want to know which are the agents of weathering are, and enclose it, heat, cold, water, ice, and gases. That are the first agent of weathering. That represent the first agents of weathering. And if you continue, we have the wind, water, ice, or gravity. That are another agents that you can include in this part.
Weather and erosion work continuously to reshape Earth's surface. The same processes that were down mountains also cause bicycles to rust, paint to peel, and sidewalks to crack. Weathering and erosion can take millions of years to break down and wear away huge mountains, or they can take seconds to carry rock away in an avalanche. These processes start changing the surface billions of years ago, and they continue to do so.
Okay, another important part that you need to enclose there is, let me see, whether an erosion can take millions of years to break down the rocks, right? That part, I repeat, enclose or remark the part that say whether an erosion can take millions of years to break down and we are away huge months. And guys, we are going to change one word that appeared in the topic because we use physical weathering, right? And chemical weathering. Okay, in your book, you have the word mechanical weathering. Mechanical weathering is the same to physical weathering. I repeat, mechanical and physical mean the same. And in this case, continue in the next page, 214. You have in one, I'm not sure of the color of this, one part that say mechanical weathering. Label each photo with an agent of mechanical weathering. But it's possible that you don't have the answer there. So I can ask, which are the 4 types of mechanical weathering? I'm gonna give you the answer of that because in your book, this part appear empty, right? Look, this part appear empty, yes or not? So the answer for the number 1 is animal action. I'm gonna write here. I repeat, which are the 3 types of rocks? Hello, guys?
Mr. are the one of igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic.
That are the 3 types of rocks: igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. I repeat, igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. And if you see, these physical weathering represent one specific part about the sediments. And remember that the sediment is the composition of the sedimentary rocks without a change in the mineral's chemical composition. Okay. The first that we have here about the physical weathering is the frost action. Sidali.
Frost action. Water freezes in a crack of the rock surface, expanding and splitting the rock.
Thank you. Like you can see, like you can identify there, we have this. What represent, Ricardo, what represent this? This like gray or blue part.
Water, mister, underground water.
Underground water, but, okay, continue there. Don't turn off your microphone because the next question is for you. It's okay. It's perfect, it's water, but look this word. So, what represent this? It's water. Of course that is water, but in which state?
Frozen.
Perfect. Frozen. Or ice or solid, right? The solid state of water. Perfect, Ricardo. Thank you. Okay. These occur in here in Honduras. Of course, that we have example of this a lot. In this place that I live, in Colonia Kennedy, we have a lot of this. But this, in this case, is not for the freezing. In this case, is for the interaction. Yes, Alessandra. It's for the interaction of the humans, not the animals. Humans. The humans produce this damage of the surface. Okay, second, plants and animals. That represent the animal interaction, right? that represent the animal interaction. Laura. Alvarenga. Laura. Can you read, please? No? Okay. Sorry. Here. Amber. Gire. Can you read here, please?
Yes. Plants and animals. Plant roots force their way to cracks. Animals uncover rock and expose it to the elements.
Okay, we have interaction of the living things here and not only the humans. I know that you know a specific traits of that occur this. For example, Melanie, can you give me one example, or if you have you seen this in one specific place? Maybe in front of your house, in the school, in the street? No? Yes? No, okay. This is very common here. For example, again, here in the Colonia Kennedy, the place that I live, this is very normal. The root move the rocks that represent the support of the surface or the street in this case, because the roots grow to find water and minerals to produce the photosynthesis process to obtain the energy. And the animals too, also the animals like the dog, cat, cow, or something like that can changes in the surface. Exfoliation, temperature changes, no. Until here, let me pause the record again. Surface.
Weathering of surface. The type of weathering in which rock is physically broken into smaller pieces is called mechanical weathering. A second type of weathering, called chemical weathering, also breaks down rock. Chemical weathering is a process that breaks down rock through chemical changes.
Thank you. Okay, what does mean this? We have the mechanical that is physical, right? Physical and mechanical is the same. Mechanical weathering is the type in which rock is physical broken into smaller pieces, producing sediment, right? And chemical weathering is the process that breaks down rocks through chemical changes. Okay, if you want to understand this, the mechanical weathering change the rocks, but only by natural forces, but only the shape, only the form, like the temperature. The temperature is one example of this. Another example is gravity, or the gravitational force that can change or produce changes in the surface. But which could be a chemical weathering, which could be one example of chemical weathering. Easy to understand. The chemical weathering is the chemical reaction. Could be like explosive, or the pesticide that you can use in your plants that can affect and produce damage to the surface. Continue reading the part that say mechanical weathering. Josue, sorry. Read the part that say
Yes.
mechanical weathering.
Only the first paragraph.
Yes.
Mechanical weathering. Rocks that are cracked or sleeping layers have undergone mechanical weathering. Mechanical weathering usually happens gradually over a very long period of time. Mechanically wearing is part of erosion, can eventually wear away whole mountains.
Continue, Annie.
The natural agents of mechanical weathering include freezing and thawing, relays of pressure, plants, growth, action of animals, and abrasion, as known in Figure 2. Abrasion refers to the weathering away of rock by rock particles carried by water, ice, winds, or gravity. Humans' activities, such as mining and farming, also cause mechanical weathering.
Is Matute here? Where is Matute? No?
Here, mister.
Can you read, please, in the presentation, the part that we have about abrasion?
Aeration. Pieces of rock collide with each other due to transportation by wind, ice, water, and gravity.
Okay, look, another important concept that we have here. Transportation by wind, ice, water, and gravity. So that means that the rocks can move, right? Maybe the rocks no, but exist different agents that can move the rocks to other positions, to other, maybe not other continent, but other position is perfect, or to other side. And that is how, look, abrasion change the composition of rocks, or the abrasion produce changes in the rocks. Look, this is the example of abrasion. So let me continue. Let me erase that. Perfect. And here we have the chemical weathering. This is like the last part of this. But before to continue with the chemical weathering, I need that. Who? Natalie, can you read the last paragraph that appear in the page 214? Because in that part we have examples that you can use to in the exam. Through mechanical weathering.
Page 214.
Yes, the last paragraph.
Through mechanical weathering, Earth systems interact and shape the surface. For example, the geosphere rocks interacts with the hydrosphere, water, ice during frost wetting. Frost wetting occurs when water seeps into cracks in rocks and expands as it freezes. Wets of ice in rocks widen and deepen cracks. When the ice melts, water seeps deeper into the cracks with repeat freezing and thawing. The cracks slowly expand until pieces of rock break off.
Okay, for me guys, I prefer that you enclose that last paragraph because contain examples of the interaction that we can find in the Earth system, in the spheres or layers of the Earth system. In this case, we have the interaction between the geosphere, like the paragraph said, the geosphere interact with the hydrosphere, water, ice with the rocks. During the frost wetting occur when the water not onto there. Just enclose or remark the last paragraph. And to finish for today, right? For today, because this topic is a long topic. Emmy, can you read, please, the concept that we have there in the screen about the chemical weathering?
Chemical weathering, the process by which chemicals break down rock through a change in a mineral's composition, happens fastest in a hot, moist climate.
Okay, and Joshua, what's Joshua? Joshua, read the first one, oxidation. Where is Joshua? I can see him. Okay, for the time, Melanie, continue with the reading that part, oxidation.
Oxidations occur when oxygen from the air combines with iron-rich minerals of the rocks. Oxidation, rust.
Thank you. Oxidation is equal to rust. Look, and in this case, thank you, Melanie. And in this case, we have the interaction between the elements, right? Because like you can see there, the oxidation is about the oxygen. Oxygen from the air combines with the iron, another important element that you can find in the rock composition, minerals of the rocks. Okay, In this part, the chemical weathering is about that, the chemical reactions, and are very fast reactions. That is the explanation about that, about this, sorry. And let me see. We have the carbonation, but for this, we need more time. For that reason, I'm going to stop